No one noticed the old man at first. That wasn't unusual. They never did. Every morning, just after sunrise, he sat on the same cold bench outside the courthouse downtown. Same place, same time, same faded military jacket hanging loosely over his thin shoulders. The jacket was old, too old. The patches were worn down to threads. The name tag was barely readable anymore, as if time itself had tried to erase him. Some people assumed he was homeless. Others thought he was just another lonely old man killing time. Most people didn't think about him at all. Cars passed. Shoes clicked on pavement. Conversations floated by him like he wasn't there. And the old man never complained. He just sat quietly, hands folded around a small paper cup of coffee he bought every morning with exact change. Always exact. Never a penny short. Never a penny extra. His name was Henry Walker, and once, a long time ago, he had been a hero. Henry was 87 years old. His back was curved now, not from age alone, but from years of carrying things no one else could see. His hands trembled slightly, not from weakness, but from memories that never truly let go. Every morning, when the courthouse bell rang 9 times, Henry closed his eyes, and for just a second, he wasn't an old man anymore. He was 19. In 1957, Henry had lied about his age to enlist. His mother cried when he left. His father shook his hand and told him to come back a man. Henry didn't know then that some boys go to war and come back as ghosts. He served in a classified unit during a conflict the government barely acknowledged. Missions that never made headlines. Operations that were never officially recorded. There were nights he still smelled burning metal. There were days he still heard screaming. Henry saved men, pulled them from wreckage, dragged them through gunfire, stayed behind when others were ordered to retreat. On one mission, his entire unit was ambushed, surrounded, outnumbered. Henry stayed. He covered their escape alone. By the time reinforcements arrived, he was unconscious, bleeding, and buried under debris. They told him later that his actions saved 14 lives. But because the mission never officially happened, neither did his bravery. No medals, no ceremonies, no headlines, just silence. When Henry returned home, the country had moved on. People wanted cheerful stories, parades, victories. Henry didn't fit the picture. He tried working construction, but loud noises sent him to the ground. Tried working in a factory, but his hands shook too much. He married once, had a daughter, but the war followed him into his sleep. Nightmares, screaming, long nights sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. His wife eventually said, "I don't know who you are anymore." She left. Years later, his daughter stopped calling. Henry never blamed them. Some people aren't meant to be understood. By the time Henry was 75, his pension barely covered rent. Medical bills swallowed the rest. When his landlord sold the building, Henry quietly packed his things into 2 small suitcases. That was the last time he lived indoors. He never begged, never held a sign. He didn't want pity. He wanted dignity. So every morning, he put on his old military jacket not to be seen, but because it reminded him he had once mattered. That morning started like every other. Cold bench, lukewarm coffee, passing faces, until a young man stopped. He couldn't have been older than 25. Crisp uniform, fresh haircut, boots polished so well they reflected sunlight. A young army officer. He walked past Henry, then stopped, turned around, stared at the jacket, at the patches, at the name. "Sir?" the young man said softly. "Were you in the service?" Henry looked up, surprised. People didn't ask him questions. "Yes," Henry answered. "A long time ago." The officer swallowed. "What unit?" Henry hesitated. Most people didn't know it, and when he told them, they didn't believe him. But something in the young man's eyes felt respectful. Henry told him. The officer's face changed. He stood straighter. Then, right there on the sidewalk, in front of everyone, he saluted. A full, sharp, military salute. Henry froze. No one had saluted him in over 60 years. Traffic noise faded. People slowed down. The officer held the salute longer than required. Then he said, loud enough for others to hear, "Thank you for your service, sir." Henry's hands shook. His eyes filled. He tried to speak, Nothing came out. People stopped walking. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "Is he a veteran?" Another said, "Why does that officer look so serious?" The young officer turned to the crowd. "This man served in a classified operation," he said. "One that saved American lives. And he never got the recognition he earned." A woman covered her mouth. A man removed his hat. Henry tried to stand. His knees gave out. The officer caught him, held him, just like Henry had once held wounded soldiers. "What's your name, sir?" "Henry Walker," the officer nodded. "I'm Lieutenant James Carter. My grandfather served in the same conflict." He lowered his voice. "I've heard stories about men like you. Men the country forgot." Henry whispered. "We weren't forgotten. We were buried." That night, James went home and couldn't sleep. So he did something bold. He made calls, pulled files, asked questions. Days later, something incredible happened. 1 week later, Henry was asked to come back to the courthouse. He thought it was a mistake. When he arrived, he saw chairs, flags, uniforms, a small crowd, and a podium. Lieutenant Carter stood beside him. "Mr. Walker," he said, "your service record has been verified." Classified files were reopened. Henry's breath caught. "For extraordinary bravery under fire, for saving the lives of your fellow soldiers, the United States Army recognizes you today." They placed a medal in Henry's trembling hands. The crowd stood. Applause filled the air. Henry cried openly. For the boys who didn't come home, for the years lost, for the silence, and finally, for being seen. At the end of the ceremony, every soldier present saluted. One by one, Henry stood as tall as his old body allowed. He returned the salute, not perfectly, but proudly. That night, Henry slept indoors, in a warm bed, with his medal on the table beside him. He passed away 3 months later, peacefully. At the funeral, Lieutenant Carter spoke. "He didn't ask for recognition," he said, "but he deserved it." They buried Henry with full military honors. And for the first time in his life, no one ignored him. Some heroes don't fall on the battlefield. Some fall quietly, waiting for someone to finally look up.